Hi, thanks for joining me once again on It's All Right with Suzette. And I'm Suzette Martinez Standring, and today our topic is mystery writing. And we have one of the best writers in the field with us today. Linda Barn is an award-winning mystery writer, and she's here to share her 17th novel, The Perfect Ghost, which will be released April 9th. So it's really exciting to have you here and to talk about the book, Perfect Ghost. You know, she has written 16 previous novels, and her suspense thrillers, let's see now, I believe 12 of them have featured Carlotta Carlyle, a redheaded detective, and Michael Sprague, an amateur sleuth. And now The Perfect Ghost is interestingly set in Cape Cod. And so we're going to be talking about that today. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Suzette. It's great to be here.
You know, I read your book. I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. It truly was a page turner. And so I don't want to spoil anything, and I think it's safest to let the author describe her suspense novel.
M. Moore is one half of a ghostwriting team. She and her partner, Teddy Blake, have written a series of very well-received celebrity biographies. They have a very good partnership. Teddy is the outgoing face of the franchise. He's the one who does all of these kind of interviews. He's the one who does the interviewing of the celebrity. He's the one who travels and goes out and does things. And his partner, M. Moore, who is the voice of the book, is the writer. She stays home. She is borderline agoraphobic. She is not confident. She's terribly, terribly shy. And at the beginning of the book, she is out of her house for one of the first times in years. She's gone to New York to convince her publisher that she can finish the book alone after Teddy's death in an accident. And the book follows her as she learns how to take the first steps out of her house and how to take over and do what needs to be done in order for her to continue her career.
Okay. And you know, you chose Cape Cod as the setting, you know,
I did.
And I love Cape Cod. And I was wondering, what was the germ or the inspiration for your mystery, the setting and the plot? How did you create the whole storyline?
This was a very interesting journey for me. I have written 12 books with the same hero, and she and I were very, very close. She was in many ways my alter ego. And I decided that I would like to try something new. I left her in a very good place. And this was very hard for me because I read series mysteries and I love series mysteries. And when someone that I read goes off the reservation, when they stop writing the books that I love and they write something else, I get upset. I don't like it. And I thought, well, you know, I need to do something else. I needed to write something that was not a Carlotta novel. And I have been summering or visiting the Cape for years. And the Cape was, in many ways, the original. I wanted to set a book on the Cape. And then I wanted to try a different journey in my writing. When you write a mystery novel with a continuing protagonist, you know a lot. You know who the main character is. You know who the secondary characters are. It's like visiting home at Thanksgiving. You have certain people who are going to show up. And I wanted to try a different way and not know what was going to happen during this journey. I tried several, when I first saw the book, I saw it as being told from many different points of view. And then I started it and a character came in and took over the book. And I had to stop that book, and I may go back to that one because it wasn't the story I wanted to tell. And then I went back and I started again with the different points of view, and it was M who came out. In some ways, I think that as much as Carlotta is me, I mean, all of your characters are you in some way or another. As much as Carlotta is me, M is some aspects too, because when you write for a long period of time, you do become more fearful. I sit in my house every day and I think about what can go wrong. What terrible things can happen? And that influences you.
That's interesting, because you have done a great job with all of the characters. Malcolm Garrett, the famed director, on whose biography the whole kind of story is turning, the continuation of it after Teddy's death. Then you have the cousins and family members and all of this who all play a part in this mystery. And yet you say that you started off not knowing where the journey was going. So M was never your main character from the very start.
No. And I found Garrett Malcolm very close to the beginning because I wanted to work with a theater group. My background is in acting prior to becoming a writer. And I found myself, once I had Garrett and the theater group, I knew they were doing Hamlet, and then I knew that I was writing about revenge and betrayal, which, your old themes come back to haunt you. And I often find myself writing about loyalty, about what is it that you owe to different people. And I'm also fascinated by biography, because biography is really choosing.
Yes.
You choose what to include and what to exclude from a biography, and so you shape what comes to be known as the truth. So I really wanted to talk about what is truth and how does a writer shape truth. And that's something that fascinated me as I went along. And I also found myself going back to Hamlet all the time, and the idea of a ghost. There are ghost writers. There's the ghost in Hamlet. Is it a true ghost? Does it speak the truth, or is it leading Hamlet on to hell? And that became part of the journey as well.
And I think that when you're writing fiction, trying to convey that spirit of truth where it feels very real to the reader, and I think in the case of the first person, speaking in the first person as M. Moore, you really do capture the flavor of her insecurity and her fear, and how everything is a struggle to get out there and fight for the continuation of this biography project and all that. How do you, yes, you say that part of it you draw from aspects of your own character, but when you're writing about someone who has an extreme of personality, and in her case, shyness, where do you draw from that? How do you, I think character development is a very interesting subject. How do you go about building that reality with your reader?
I go about it very much the same way that an actor goes about developing a character. I work through observation, through seeing. Everyone knows people in their lives who run a spectrum of behaviors, and I watch people. I recall having a professor at Boston University's School of Fine Arts and Theater who used to send us out onto the subways and say, okay, today you have to follow a particular person, and then I want you to come back and do that person for us. And I will still go out onto the subways and watch people. And I'm that person in the restaurant who's listening to your conversation. I really do believe in close observation. And then in working with those things within yourself, you know, everyone has had moments when they've felt intensely shy. You know, everyone's had that first day of school feeling, that walking into a party when everyone else seems to know everyone else. And you can work on that and think, well, what if I felt like that all the time? What if I saw myself as excluded all the time? And then, you know, and in addition to that, what if I was very nervous? What if that one day when I drank 10 cups of coffee, what if I felt like that all the time? And a voice emerges from that.
I see. And, you know, Garrett Malcolm, he's on the other end of the spectrum. He's powerful and charismatic and very manipulative, you know. And so where did you base him on someone that you knew or observed, or was he created out of whole cloth?
Nobody's created out of whole cloth. Yes, I based him on people that I have seen and observed over long periods of time. And he is an actor. I've observed many actors, and he is a powerful person. Powerful people don't need to move. Everyone's eye is on the powerful person. They move less than other people, and every move that they make is a purposeful move. And when many actors work from the outside in, they work with the physical presence of the person. And I know that when I write Malcolm, I sit differently and I move differently than when I write M, who is, you know, who is always, you know, in motion, always trying to please, always, you know, and also angry about having to please everyone. She's a very complicated person, and I enjoy the experience. I think that one of the great, wonderful things about writing fiction is the opportunity to be someone other than oneself.
That's interesting. I've never heard it expressed that way, in that it's like you're an actor. Except that you're channeling that empathy and that mimicry into print as opposed to on stage.
Yes.
And that you're embodying your characters as you go along. Do you think that that's a trait that is common to writing or to mystery writing, or do you think that's something that you know you have?
I think it's something that I bring to the table because of my background. I know other actors other writers who've begun as actors who work very similarly. But each writer, I think, finds their own journey. And this is the one I found. And with M, I found it a discombobulating journey.
Yes.
To go along with her on this
well, you
particular
do
ride.
capture her uncertainty and her fear, and yet her determination and loyalty very well. And in a few minutes, we're going to come back and we're going to be speaking with Linda Barnes more about her writing process in her newest mystery novel, The Perfect Ghost. So stay tuned with us on It's All Right with Suzette as we take a break. Welcome back to It's All Right with Suzette with our special guest, Linda Barnes, who's written her newest novel, number 17 novel, The Perfect Ghost. And so we're going to continue talking to her about your writing process and the book itself, which comes out on April 9th. and already it's getting some rave reviews. You know, I just want to share with you some of the reviews that it's been receiving. Publishers Weekly has called it utterly compelling. The story moves unhesitantly from point to point, and each character encountered holds his or her space on the page with confidence and distinctiveness. And Linda Barnes has for long been one of the most skilled and artful writers of the crime novel. With Heart of the World, she proves it and takes it up to a new level. You know, these are reviews that she's received for many of her other works. With every novel, Linda Barnes reminds us of two key facts. She was one of the first, and she remains one of the best. Barnes has never been better. Laura Lippman on The Heart of the World. And on The Perfect Ghost, do you have some great reviews to share with us so far?
Actually, Publishers Weekly came in and said that it was a captivating story of love, rivalry, and revenge, which I liked a great deal.
Yes, and I agree. I read the book. I really enjoyed it. And I think you do such a great job with the storyline and the characters. And you know, speaking of rave reviews, you know, over your career of 30 years,
yes,
as a mystery writer, you know, Linda has received many, many awards for her writing. You know, she's won the Anthony Award. She's had nominations for both the Seamus Award and the American Mystery Award for Best Short Story for Lucky Penny in 1985. In 1987, she received the American Mystery Award for Best Private Eye Novel and nominations for the Edgar, Anthony, and Seamus Awards for A Trouble of Fools. And The Snake Tattoo was named one of the outstanding books of 1990 by the London Times. So, you know, you've had such a great career of public recognition for your talent and your great ability in mystery writing. And I think that there are people watching this show who aspire to be you when they grow up someday. And so I was wondering if you might, you know, share any of your tips or techniques that regarding mystery writing that over your career you've learned that might help others.
I've learned that you need to be a very stubborn person in order to exist in publishing. That there are so many different aspects to writing, and what I like to talk about is the actual writing process. But once you've written your book, then in many ways, it's like being shut in a dark closet with an incredibly complicated board game and no set of instructions. And to figure out how to go from the completed book to a published book is something that has changed since I've started writing. When I began, you needed to work through a publisher, and publishers held all the power. They could reject you, they could accept you, and that was the end of the road. Now it's a very different journey because many people are going directly to the internet, and they are self-publishing and finding an audience. So it's a very different game. But what I like to do is to sit in a room by myself and think about the books that I loved growing up, about what I wanted to read. And I wanted to read because it was a way of learning about different people and experiencing different lives within one. It always seemed to me like such a waste that you only got to be one person. You know, and
but you're not.
I tried acting, and I only got the jobs that tall brunette women could get. I could not, you know, bless Helen Mirren for playing Prospera. But, you know, there are very few women who get to play Hamlet. But on the page, I can be anyone and do anything. And so it was a wonderful way. I didn't know that I wanted to be a writer. It never occurred to me. I wanted to be an actress, and then I wanted to direct, and I wound up teaching theater. And I didn't write anything until the school that I was teaching at told me that I was required to enter a competition, that I needed to present a play. And I thought, okay, great, this is wonderful. I will do this play. I have 12 wonderful actors, and I'm going to find a play for these 12 wonderful actors, and I posted the cast list. And then I went to look for a play that had 12 people in it, and there wasn't one. There are no one-act plays with 12 characters except for the one that I wrote. And once I started writing, I fell in love with the process.
Interesting.
And I always thought I'd go back to writing plays, and maybe I will. But when I left my teaching job, I thought, what can I do? You know, if I'm going to be an actor or a director or a playwright, I truly need to move to New York. And I did not want to move to New York, and I didn't want to starve to death in a garret somewhere. And so I thought, what have I read? What do I love to read? And it's mystery novels all the time, from Sherlock Holmes through Dorothy Sayers, from all of the, from Dashiell Hammett to Ross MacDonald. I read all of those books, not to mention James Bond, and I truly lost myself in them. And that's really the experience that I want to provide for my reader.
That's interesting. So you started from playwriting and decided to jump into the genre of mystery writing because it's what you loved to read best.
Yes.
Now, what always fascinates me about mystery writers is how they can come up with the various ways to thrill and ultimately surprise you. Do you think that it's all been done? I mean, or do you feel that there are still surprise endings? I mean, you know, I'm not going to say any more about your book, except that you really will be surprised. But, you know, has it all been done? I mean, how do mystery writers keep coming up with the twists and turns?
You know, I don't even think about the twists and turns. I think about the people. I think about the characters and the wonderful ways that people can screw up their lives, you know.
Oh, that is fascinating.
That none of us start out thinking that we want to kill a particular person, or usually in a mystery, you need to do it in order to protect something or someone.
Yes.
Or an image of yourself.
Yes.
And it happens organically. And if it doesn't happen organically, then I find I can't go there. And the Carlotta novels are considered fairly hard-boiled. Or they were when I began, and hard-boiled has gotten harder as we go along.
Oh, I was just thinking that.
And I find that I can't watch horror, and I can't really watch crime on television because it's incredibly graphic.
Yes.
And I can write these things because to me, a word is a word. It's a description, and a picture is a picture, and video is even beyond. And I'm fascinated by violence. I admit it. I'm fascinated by violence. I grew up in Detroit. I lived through the riots. I have seen things that I wish I could erase from my memory. But I need to find a place of comfort where violence exists along with human emotion, where it's not separate and other. And I find it a delicate balance.
Yes, I can understand that. You know, you've received many, many awards. Your name is well established in the mystery writing genre. And what do you, I know I'm putting you on the spot with this question, but what do you feel are some of the outstanding signature elements of your writing? You know, very often, many writers that we love, they have a recognizable style, or they have something that they alone convey very uniquely to other people. And what do you think, you know, what do you think is the secret to your longevity as a mystery writer?
I think that I'm strong in dialogue, and I think that that comes across from my acting background. I think that I love to get characters into a room and let them talk to each other. And it's the way in which each person speaks is very individual to me, and I can hear my characters as they speak. And I can tell a story from the beginning to the end that when you finish it, you go, oh, that's right. But in the middle, you don't know what's coming. And often that's because I've taken the journey myself. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the road.
That's so great. Now, how can people buy your book? How can they find you? You're on Facebook?
I am on Facebook. That's
so tell us
new thing.
How people, well, tell us about that.
And my publisher is St. Martin's Press. And I'm going to be at a lot of different libraries. I'm going to be at different bookstores. I will be at Newtonville Books the day after this book comes out. Then I'll be at Brookline Booksmith. I will be at the New England Mobile Book Fair. I'm going to be doing the Newburyport Literary Festival. I'll be doing some traveling around the country to various festivals. And I will be there. The book will be there. It's on Amazon, and they're also bringing out A Trouble of Fools, which is my very first Carlotta, is just coming out for the first time in ebook, and that just came out today.
Oh, congratulations.
I'm very excited about that because that's an oldie. And
you know, your website, it's www.lindabarnes.com. That's BARNES. And is your speaking schedule listed?
My speaking schedule is posted on that. And I'll also put something up on Facebook so that people know how to find me and how to find the book.
And how would people find you on Facebook? Just Linda Barnes Author?
Linda Barnes Author will do it.
And do you have a running dialogue with your
I do.
Your legion of fans?
This is something that's just started up. And I'm also on Goodreads, which these are all new things for me. When I began, it was a very different process.
Oh yes, I can believe that.
But now, you know, the web is everywhere. And I feel like I'm everywhere as well.
And that's a good thing. And that's a good thing, Linda. And, you know, coming up in April, Linda Barnes will be speaking at the Milton Public Library on Wednesday, April 17th, along with Hallie Efren, another lovely, well-celebrated author. And her new book is also coming out. There Was an Old Woman. In fact, she's going to be on our show at a future time. But if you get a chance, please come to the Milton Library on April 17th to meet Linda Barnes.
Yes.
And to visit her website, www.lindabarnes.com, to find out where she's speaking and to buy her book on Amazon, A Perfect Ghost. Linda, I want to thank you for being with us today and for sharing all the insights and mysteries into your mystery. And it's just been such a pleasure to get to know you and to share you with all the viewers here today.
Thank you so much, Suzette. I really had a good time.
And we'll see you again on It's All Right with Suzette. Take care and happy writing.